Good evening, everyone. My name is CJ Lumibo, and today we are going to have our lesson 3, which is adding textures. Okay, so we have our instructions here. First things first, we are going to add both images and the texture and the girl. Okay, so we are just going to drag and drag, and drag and drop again. Okay, and then we are just going to simply adjust the texture properly on the wall. Okay, maybe like this one. And if you are satisfied with the way it looks, you can just go ahead and press the check symbol. Okay, so next we are going to make a selection of the girl. Okay, so before we proceed on heading out to select or make a selection of the girl, we are going to remove the padlock icon on our background image. How can we do that? We can just simply duplicate the layer and then delete the original layer. Okay, so and yes, press the hide symbol on the texture layer. So it's up to you. Before we go ahead and make a selection, it's really up to you on how you or how you make a selection. Maybe you prefer using magnetic tool, maybe some prefer using the quick selection tool, but in this image, since this image has a bit of a bumpy details or a bumpy detail, I'm just going to use I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool instead. Okay, so polygonal lasso tool. Okay, so let's start making a selection of the girl. I'm going to start from this area, from the shoe. Okay, nice and slow, guys, nice and slow. Take it easy. Again, it doesn't really have to be perfect, guys. Okay, as long as you are making a nice selection of the girl, and that is already enough. Okay, so some prefer maybe using quick selection tool, and I prefer using the polygonal lasso tool on this part. As you can see, this area is a bit bumpy, and in some cases quick selection tool doesn't have the advantage, but instead where the polygonal lasso tool has the advantage. Okay, and yes, it doesn't have to be perfect. The selection doesn't really have to be perfect, as long as you are making a nice selection of this image of the girl, and that's already enough. Don't select don't make a selection a bit off from the area. Okay, because as you can see here, we only want to select the girl, not the walls, or make a cut out version, or maybe reduce the image of how the girl looks like. Okay, it really doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Okay, so we are done with the hair. We are going to make a selection of the arm and the bag. Okay, and we are nearly there, guys. Okay, nice and slow. Well, it's really up to you if you want to make a really perfect selection of the girl, but considering the how the Photoshop works, especially on selections, I think Photoshop can uh, make a perfect selection for you, even though you miss some spots or selected areas that are unnecessary. Okay, and if we are at the part, or before we like connect this, if you are um one step away from the part where you started, you can just reconnect it in order to complete the selection, and boom. Okay, oh, okay, I accidentally pressed something. Hey, so hey, right now we have a nice selection of the girl, and I'm going to press Ctrl and J. Okay, as you can see, we now have 3 layers. Okay, so the next step is we are going to select the texture and make a negative selection, or hold shift. Maybe like we can just go ahead and unview this and bring this texture down to the bottom, and then we are going to uh, make a negative selection by pressing Alt key and then left click on our selection, or rather left click on our mask tool. As you can see, we now have created a selection, or rather a mask of the texture. We are going to use we are going to the next step is we are going to use the brush tool. Okay, and then use the white color, then maybe increase the size because we are going to bring our texture back. Okay, so increase our size and then maybe our hardness to 160 and 66, and draw on the mask area. Okay, don't be afraid to like draw here on the girl, because it won't the our texture won't be affected at all, because we are drawing on the part where, so as you can see, we are drawing on the part where the text or the texture has the mask. Keep on increasing the size, and yes, you can just go ahead and draw, and check if you have missed any spots here. I have missed a spot here, as you can see. Let's check again if there are any spots. None at all. Okay, so the next step is, as you can see, it doesn't look a bit realistic yet because of these uh, the wall has lines and the texture is overlapping it or is above it. Okay, so I'm going to select the black color and then decrease the size of our brush tool to maybe like 9 and the hardness to 40%, 40%, 40. Well, it just really depends to you. It really depends to you on what is your preferred way on making this part look a bit realistic. And next for the top part. Hey, hey, so we are getting there. So next is we are going to unlink. Okay, learn how to unlink. So there are cases that maybe this the texture is looking a bit cluttered. Okay, maybe we want to increase the size, but if we try to increase the size using Control T, and as you can see, the mask also increases its size. Okay, so to avoid that we are going to unlink the texture layer from the mask. Okay, so to unlink the two images, we are going to simply press the chain symbol between them. Okay, and then make sure this layer is selected and go ahead and press Ctrl T and increase the size. As you can see, nothing is affected except the scaling of the texture. You can even move this around. So you can see whenever I try to uh, move it, this part doesn't get the or this part doesn't get bothered by the texture. And if we are satisfied with the how it way it looks, we can just go ahead and press the check symbol and boom. Okay, so it seems that I have missed a spot. Okay, so after adjusting the scale of our texture, we can go ahead and select this one, the mask, and link them all together again. Okay, just going to clear this part because it seems that I have missed a spot. Okay, so to make it look a bit realistic, we are going to add blur from the texture. So before we try to add a blur, click on the texture and then go ahead to our menu bar and select filter again. Click on the texture or select the texture layer and then press filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. Again, filter, blur, and then Gaussian blur. And maybe increase the size of our blur until it looks a bit realistic. Okay, so this might do the trick. So yes, if we are satisfied with the way it looks, you can just go ahead and click OK, and boom, you now have added your texture behind the girl, which is on the wall. Okay, So that's it, guys. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have a great evening.